What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. Check out the video if you liked what you see. Watch another video. After that, hit the subscribe button. But today we're doing a leveling kit on a 2013 F150 four-wheel drive. It's just a puck style leveling kit that goes on top of the strut and the front of the truck. Simple as that, no blocks for the rear, anything. Local kid asked me if I could put it on, said yes. So we're gonna be doing that today and get it pulled up in the garage and see if we need to work on it. All right, so before we get this completely pulled into the garage, I want to give you guys a before with it. This is a 2013 Lariat F150 full drive. It's currently got 35, 1250, 20 Nitto mud wraps on here, and they do rub. So I just pulled this into the driveway, and just backing it up, it immediately started rubbing. So I imagine that's why we're getting the leveling kit on here. And then, I mean, honestly, it already looks level, so they must have done some type of block delete or something in the rear, is what I'm guessing. This is my first time ever seeing this truck in person, so yeah, I'm guessing they did some type of block delete in the rear, a factory block removal or something like that, because it already looks pretty level. But this is a very clean truck. I'm gonna get some measurements of it on flat ground now so we can see what difference it is. So from the outside lug to the fender arch is 6 3/4. We go down to the back of the fender well. We're looking at, we'll go to this little line thing right here, and it's exactly 21 inches. So I'm curious to see how much overall that comes up. But let's get this thing pulled into the garage. Luckily, it's a half-ton F150, so it fits perfectly fine in the garage. We're gonna pull it in here, do all the work in here. It rained all day yesterday, and I don't want to take that risk of getting this thing torn apart out in the driveway and it start raining, because I need to get this done in the next couple hours. So we're gonna go ahead and get it pulled on. All right, so first thing you want to do before you even jack it up and put it on jack stands, you want to go around and break all your lug nuts loose. Just in case impact's not strong enough to break them loose or anything like that, you don't have this thing jacked up in the air already sitting on jack stands. So I'm going to go around and break all the front lug nuts loose, and then we'll jack this up, throw it on jack stands, and get into taking everything apart. All right, now we have it jacked up, placed on jack stands. That way we don't have to worry about anything coming down. Those are 12-ton jack stands. This thing does not weigh anything close to 12 tons. So we're perfectly fine. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna start on the passenger side, get it knocked out and done, and I'm gonna show you guys how you do the driver's side. That way I have a better understanding with it. This is my first time ever doing a leveling kit on one of these F-150s. So I don't wanna be trying to figure it out and showing you guys how to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna figure out how to do this side, and then we'll jump on over to the driver's side where I will show you guys how to do it. All right, so our driver's side is done. That took me about an hour and a half. The big issue was there was already a leveling kit on it like I had thought. That is why I was looking at it and I was like, this thing looks pretty level already. It had an 1.5 inch rough country level on it. So I messaged the owner, asked him, you still want me to put this on? And he asked what size the old leveling kit was, measured it, 1.5 inches, told him, he said, yep, go ahead and throw on the new 3-inch leveling kit. So that's what we did. And that is it right up there. It's completely on. The only thing I haven't got on is this sway bar right here. It was so tight because the other side is still tight that I wasn't able to get it back on. So what I did is went ahead and jacked this side up over here. I've got some WD-40 soaking in on that sway bar link on this side just because of how tight it absolutely was. But we're gonna go ahead, jump over here, and I'm gonna show you guys what all steps we have to do to get everything apart. If you have someone that can help you, definitely help would make this a lot easier. But if you don't have any help, this is possible to do it by yourself. It just takes a little bit of imagination, some hard work, and some strength. So let's jump into it. All right, so to start off, you want to get everything loose while you have the jack on the bottom of the lower control arm. So what I like to do is put everything on jack stands, and then I'll take the jack to whatever side I'm working on and jack that side up. That way it relieves a lot of the tension on everything, so you're not only fighting the tightness and however many years old it is, like this is a 9-year-old truck, you're not fighting 9 years worth of grime and everything being tight. You can loosen everything just from how tight it is. You're not fighting the tension of everything as well. So what you need to do is loosen your upper control arm, your tie rod, your sway bar link. You want to undo all of your sensors and everything over here. So you have a ABS sensor right here, you have a brake line bolt, and then there's also another brake line bolt. This is a 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 9 millimeter, and then also remove these snap clips. You have your vacuum line for your automatic locking hubs in the front, and that comes and mounts right here. And that's going to come off as well. These are 18 millimeter up top. Go ahead and loosen those, and then you're going to pop this little dust cap off right here, and behind that there is a 13 millimeter nut that is holding your CV axle in. Once you get all of that apart, you can just pull this out, lower this down, and then you can fight that to get that out. The ideal way probably would be to pull this bottom bolt out, but not only do I not have a socket and wrench that size, you most likely do not either unless you're a mechanic shop, which I am not. I'm just an everyday DIYer and just happened to get word of mouth with this one. So what I did was I took this 1 1/8" wrench and actually fit right on this bolt right here. I put that on there and I used my foot to press down. I took a pry bar and pried this upper A-arm up, and that gave me enough tension to pull this down and out, where I was able to remove the old leveling kit and install the new one. So we're gonna go through that whole process, and you guys are gonna be able to see it. Okay, so if you're watching this video, odds are you've probably never done this before, and you probably don't know how to get any of this apart. So in order to separate a tie rod from a knuckle, upper control arm from a knuckle, or we're not doing it in this case, but for future reference, if you're trying to separate the lower control arm ball joint from the knuckle, you want to take a hammer and strike the knuckle. Now, I'm not talking about that hammer that you have in your everything drawer in your kitchen where all the batteries and spare bulbs and all your just random crap in your house gets thrown. I'm talking about a bigger hammer, a mini sledge, something that's got some weight behind it. You don't want to be hitting this with your little nail driver that your wife makes you hang pictures up on the wall with. You want to hit it with something like this. So you're going to strike the flat part of the knuckle. You can hit here or you can hit here. Same goes for the tie rod. There's a flat spot right here. So give you a little reference. As you can see, that separated. It took me about 6-7 hits. That came apart. We're gonna do the same thing with this tie rod over here. Now I'm gonna try, the steering wheel did lock with this turn, so. So I hit the side of the knuckle and then I hit the flat spot on the bottom of this tie rod. Came right out, as you can see. A little bit of a worn out CV axle. I'm guessing we've got a torn boot somewhere, but it's not why the truck's in here. The truck's in here to get a leveling kit. So that's what we're gonna do. Now we've got the tie rod, upper control arm taken apart. Now we're gonna take apart the sway bar and our CV axle bolt, all of our wires and everything already undone. So we've gotta loosen these, this, and that, and we're gonna be set. So if you're in a case like this where you're trying to loosen the sway bar and the top's spinning, just get you a wrench or a pair of pliers and hold the top of it, and you'll be all set. So a lot of the times when you're letting this down, the normal part to hang up is the sway bar. It actually gets caught on the threads. So you can be very careful because this can hurt you. Okay, so it's actually not stuck on the threads. This is just where it's sitting now. So if you look, yeah, that's completely loose. So what we can do is take that 1.5 inch wrench I was telling you about, and watch this. You get some downward force on this. See how that automatically wants to come out? So the issue I ran into on the other side was this control arm kept getting in the way. That was my fucking toe. That's now down, out of the way. What we can do now is take our pry bar, grab us a hammer and get it up there. On the side like that. Go up with that, down with this. Ow, my freaking back. This is where, all right guys, I'm trying to show you guys how to do this, but nothing's wanting to cooperate. All my flashlights are falling. Take your foot, put it on the wrench, push down, pick up. Just like that. Now, the other side was the same way. This thing's covered in dirt. This kid goes out and has some fun with his truck. That's fine. Kids are gonna be kids. Trucks are trucks. But take you some rags, cover up the CV axle, cover up the wheel hub. You don't want dirt in there. And as you can see, this thing's slap full of dirt. Get you a pick like this and just clean out the dirt so you can get a socket on it. Now, let's taking this apart. The bolts on the top were 17 millimeter. Go ahead and now you will be reusing these, so don't lose these. The ones that were on top of here, you're not going to be reusing. The new leveling kit comes with new hardware for that, but this is the factory hardware that mounts to the factory strut. So you want to reuse that hardware mounting back to that factory strut. Okay, so now you just take this, and you might have to get your little pry bar or something like this and pop it up underneath. It might be stuck to it. That's how the other side was, at least. Make sure you keep track of your washers. They like to run away. The bolts that are in this, does not matter. We're not going to be reusing them. So you can just set this off to the side. We got all of our washers. Now, with our new leveling kit, we have to assemble the bolts on the bottom, which are these big black Allen heads. You're gonna need a 8 millimeter Allen wrench to get these in. So if you look at this, you look through and you see this threaded hole. There's gonna be these 3 threaded holes right here. Look on the other side, the bolt goes straight through this side. The factory bolts like this go through these 3 holes, and then all of your black Allen head bolts are gonna go through like this. And Make sure you don't cross thread them, and you really do not want to over tighten these. I don't know the proper torque spec, but do not over tighten these, because you strip these threads, you're kind of shit out of luck as far as that goes, because the nuts tighten down on this side of that, on the top of your strut tower. So go ahead and run these down. And then don't go too crazy with tightening it, just you want to make sure it's tight enough that it's not going to spin up top, but you don't want to strip this out. All right, now you want to grab a rag of some sort and just clean the top of this off. So as you can see, big chunk of dirt, and throw that out there. Wipe this off so we have a clean, flat surface. Nothing's binding up, nothing causes anything to be uneven. This is a big reason why we put these rags down here. Make sure no dirt's falling in that wheel hub, no dirt's getting on that CV axle. There we go. Took a couple tries, but we got it all figured out. So the other side was kind of a pain with doing this. Bring this down where you guys can see. So you want to get your washers onto the studs in there. It's kind of a pain. It is possible. What I had to do on the other side was get my pick and work it over top of it like that. And those are all on. Now repeat this process with all the nuts. Gated-y. So once you have all the nuts back on, you want to throw your socket on the ground. You don't want to use that to tighten anything down. So get your 17mm and run these all down. Make sure nothing's cross-threaded. And now these are a locking style nut, so they have a rubber gasket on the top, which means you're not gonna be able to run them all the way down by hand. But once you get them started by hand, you can grab your ratchet and go ahead and start tightening these down. So you'll feel once the nut bottoms out, do not continue tightening. Go around and bottom all of the nuts out. Okay, so this just bottomed, so this side's done. Come over and bottom this side out. All right, that side just bottomed out. Then do this side. The whole reason behind bottoming out each nut is so when you're tightening this down, you don't have it uneven. One side's not completely tightened down and this side won't tighten down all the way, and you have an uneven surface. You want to make sure that you get everything even. All right, and once you get the last one bottomed out, continue tightening it and make sure your socket gets stuck in there. All right, get that out and go around, make sure everyone has German spec, gluten tight. All right, now this is where the fun begins. So remember how complicated it was to get the last one out? That was on a 1.5" leveling kit. We are now on a 3" leveling kit, so it's a bit of a pain. So I almost busted my butt last time because all the dirt that was on the ground from this little yeehaw truck. So go ahead and blow all the dirt out of your way. That way you're not slipping and sliding like you're at SeaWorld. So got our pry bar. We're gonna be using this up top up here to get this upper control arm up and out of the way like so. Take your foot on the bottom. This is really not a lot of fun. Learned that last time. That went a lot easier than last time, to be honest. But now we have this in here. So what we want to do now is get our jack on the bottom. We're gonna have to jack this up and get our holes to come through the top up here. So you don't want to just start cranking on the jack because you don't know if everything's lined up like that. Okay, so this way you guys can get a different angle of it. I'm not bouncing you guys off this fender right here. You wanna, make sure you can press in on this. This is where the having help would come in handy. Make sure you're pressed in on this and go up with your jack. Feel up top, see if you can figure out where your bolt holes are at. Use a pry bar if you need to. All right, and just like that, we are all the way through up top. This is where you want to get your new hardware. You got all new washers, all new lock nuts. Go up top, go ahead and get your threads started. All right, and now we just reassemble. Well, the GoPro died while I was reassembling the driver's side of the truck, but we got everything back on. I got the wheels and tires on. I torqued them to 115 foot-pounds. I drove it around the block, came back, torqued them down again, and this thing is all set. Looking a lot better. It's definitely higher in the front. I can 100% tell that. Pulling out of the driveway, did not rub at all. I don't think he's gonna rub in general anymore, but there's no telling. I'm gonna let him know that he needs to get these tires rotated and needs to get an alignment. That looks like the tires are starting to chop, but this thing is looking a whole lot better now. Definitely a big upgrade from before. I'm very happy for him that he chose to continue with the 3-inch level, although it had the 1.5 inch on it, because it is higher in the front now by about an inch, which probably didn't help him clear these 35s. He is wanting to do drop shackles in the rear. I know. I don't support squatting trucks, but you can pay me, and money talks. I'll do anything twice. So I'm gonna get my tape measure real quick. We'll go ahead and measure the difference. I don't remember what it was earlier, but that's the power of editing, is that I'll be able to see what I said earlier. I want to say the front was 6 3/4 from the outside lug to the fender earlier, and it is 7 7/8 now. So just over an inch higher in the front than it was before. And let's go to that line like we did earlier, and it's exactly at 22.5 inches right to that little plastic body line on that fender. So I think we went up about an inch and a half overall up front. So this was a true 3-inch leveling kit. The rough country was an 1.5 inches, but rough country isn't always true to size. But this 3-inch was very true to size, because I think it is up higher 3 inches in the front. And I already drove around the neighborhood, so it had little time to settle. I'm sure in the next 1,000 miles it might drop up to 1/4 inch, but I doubt it'll go that much with this truck already having 130,000 miles on it. I imagine these struts are already pretty worn, so putting that leveling kit on the top, it's just gonna compress them, and I don't think anything else is gonna drop after that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like on it. If you're new here, like I said earlier, go check out other videos, or if you just feel generous, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you watch some other videos and I proved myself that I'm not that horrible to watch. You guys can hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, go check out the store, aarontates.co. Support your boy, always grinding, always chasing dreams. I want you guys to know to be fucking great today. I love you all. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.